ASMR Coffin Radio.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Coffee and Radio. I am Heartthrob Rob, and today we are talking about Dark Side of the Ring, Season 3, Episode 13, Extreme and Obscene, Rob Black's XPW. The bio here reads, XPW merges Rob Black's passions for hardcore porn and deathmatch wrestling, but his empire implodes after he wages a war with federal authorities. That sentence there couldn't sum up this episode any more perfectly, man. This episode is about Rob Black's XPW, which I didn't know a lot of. I know that we see a lot of the clip of New Jack throwing Vic Grimes off of the scaffold. That's pretty much the only thing I've known from them. The ECW Heatwave 2000 incident that happens, and we will go over all that. But other than that, I don't really know too much about them. I do know they were based in LA, that they were a California-based company. And in the interviews here, we have Jessica Darlin, who was a porn star slash valet for a while. New Jack, David Marquez, who is now owner of UWN, United Wrestling Network. Shout out to Dave. Joey Chaos, who I didn't know owned Santino Wrestling, so good for him. Santino Wrestling puts out a lot of incredible wrestlers, so shout out to Joey Chaos. Sylvia Munoz is actually his wife. Mike Hartsfield, who is also there. William Welch, who is also known as the Messiah. Luke Hawks and Sabu are also interviewed for this. But, he said Rob Black really gets his start. He had the porn thing going on, but he gets into wrestling, working as he was going to work this deal with ECW. The deal doesn't work out. Him and Paulie, now enemies. Rob Black is going to try and do his ECW on the West Coast thing against ECW itself. ECW folds in 2001, so Rob does get a lot of these other wrestlers that come from ECW. Like, he gets Terry Funk for a little bit. He has New Jack, just other wrestlers, 911, whoever it may be. But, they're trying to push it to the extreme. But this episode kind of is from these people's perspectives, but because you can't show porn, because you can't show like some of all the crazy stuff that they do, I think the episode suffers overall because you're talking about these crazy things that they saw, but you yourself obviously do not see them, and so it's these people telling stories that you can't see. It just kind of suffers because of that. But you do hear some crazy stuff. You do hear about the ECW Heatwave 2000, where a bunch of XPW guys show up there and their ring crew gets their ass kicked by the ECW guys. Next, we find out about the Messiah is hooking up with Rob Black's girlfriend, Lizzie Borden, and Messiah is attacked, and one day after he has beef with Rob Black and fucking the guys cut his thumb off, he has to fight them off. Unfortunately, his thumb is taken, so he's got some resentment against Rob Black. Rob Black, because there's no fucking evidence, is never really brought in for it or anything like that. We also go over the New Jack versus Vic Grimes thing. We saw the scaffold, how it's made, and that there was really no insurance for that, which is fucking crazy. But, we get fucking to get see the New Jack throwing Vic Grimes off there. By the grace of God, he hit the ropes and didn't die. But it's crazy always getting a little bit more information on those kind of events. The porn is judged as too extreme by the Attorney General, John Ashcroft, who goes against Rob Black. And Rob Black ends up trying to fight the federal government about it. Obviously loses. He gets fucking sentenced for a year in prison, which isn't too bad for all the shit that they were doing. But the porn that they were doing back then is like damn near just the norm now. So he was really ahead of his time. But the episode ends there. You get to hear a lot about these stories, but you just hear them. You don't get to see anything. The crazy events, but because you don't really get to see the crazy events, this episode is not the greatest. You do learn a lot of crazy stuff, but not the best episode they've had. But juicy tidbits, but because you're just hearing about them, you don't really get to see them. I think the episode suffers a little bit. But it's good here to, a good 1 hour rundown of XPW, this company that lasted for, 5 to 7 years in Los Angeles and had their own ECW kind of vibe going. Very, very cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the episode. We'll talk about it in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe. And if you like what you're watching, then hop in the coffin. Follow us on social media at Coffin Radio. Coffin spelled with a K. And that's all for today.
ASMR Coffin Radio.